Welcome to day 16. So far, we've been using our IDLE to run our program. I think it's high time we try to use PyCharm. So if you haven't downloaded PyCharm yet, just go to your browser and search for download PyCharm. And if you load it, you should be able to see by JetBrains. And once you check it out, you should be able to download for your operating system. If you're a Windows user, make sure you're downloading for Windows, and if you're a Mac user, you can download for Mac as well. So you can go for the community version if you don't have money to pay for the premium version. Of course, you can do a community version. And once you're done downloading, you can just install, just like you will install any other application on your system. Right now, I'm just going to close this, and I think I will just go ahead and close this page. Let me just minimize this. All I need to do right now is to open my own PyCharm because I already have it installed, and once I load it, PyCharm should come up. Your version might be different anyways, but mine is fine. Now you can see basically yours might not appear like this. Perhaps you're doing the first project, but because I've done some project in the past, you can see the recent project right here. You can go ahead and create a new project, or you can open an existing project. What we are going to do really is to open our folder. Remember when we started this tutorial, we started by using a folder that was stored on the desktop. So I'm just going to locate my desktop. I think this is the folder, but let's go through the desktop. I'm just going to look for it. Yes, this should be it. And once I open it, it's going to open that actual folder. Now you can see all the days that we have, right? I think to make this cleaner, I am just going to create a new directory. You can see what I'm doing is just right click and new directory. I want to name it script. I can just call it, maybe not script, you can just call it 30 days. 30 days. Let me see if I can use iPhone. 30 days with Python. Now you can see that we have our new directory, which is cool. So I'm just going to copy all of this and move it in, just so we have a cleaner workspace. As you can see, we now have all of those inside, which is very cool. Now in the root folder, let's create a new file. And for us to create a new file, I just right click on the root folder and go to new. Of course, we want to create a Python file, so we can just do that and just call it day 16. Or just enter, and you can see PyCharm automatically added .py for us, which is cool. Now when you create a new file without specifying that is a Python file, it's not going to add that extension for you. So let's say we just do day. Now it's even asking us what structure do we want. Let's just say we want text. You can see it's just giving you just the day. You need to be aware that to create a Python file, you just have to make sure that you select the Python file. Or even if you create the file, make sure that you add the .py to work similarly. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this one. Now there are a couple of things we can understand here. Here is actually where your file structure is, of course, which you're seeing. This is where your file structure is. Then your terminal. This is where your terminal is. This is actually where we're going to be running a program. You can see Python console. In other words, I can run any code and I'm going to see the result. So take for instance, inside this very div 16, let's write a print function and just say hello. Now, the moment you write your print function and you want to run it for the first time, you can come to your menu here and just do run, click on run. Now, it's going to ask you if you want to run this particular file. Of course, that's what we want. And once we run it, you can see that you have your value here. This is pretty much cool. So going forward, you can always just run it from here and it's going to work. What we are going to be checking today is slicing in Python. Now we are going to be looking at how you can get a particular portion of your collection, and to do that, slicing helps us to do that. For example, let's declare a variable. Let's call it string, and I am going to give it a value of alphabet. Now, the cool thing about using PyCharm is it literally helps you to visualize things. In the events where there's an error, it can always tell you, like right now, is even underlining what we've written. Let's see what it's saying. So you can see new line at the end of file. So it's expecting us to at least enter, right? Now we're going to be learning as we work. As much as I can, I'm going to be walking you through some of the functionality, and at any point if you have any question, you can always ask or try to Google for some answers. Now let's dive into some of the things we have to do today. And to begin, once we have our variable, the next thing we want to do is to declare our slice. What we need to declare right now, so you can learn on how to customize your PyCharm. But in the meantime, I think this really worked for us. So let's declare another variable, which we're going to call slice. We want to slice tree, starting from tree. Let's say, so what we are slicing is actually our string here. But let's see what slicing really means. It's more like you doing the index, right? But let's see. I'm just going to print it out so that you see what the result look like. You can already see PyCharm suggesting what I need. I'm just going to say slice, and that's the cool thing about IDLE. You don't have to type everything yourself. So let's run it and see what we have. Now, so the slicing we're talking about is you're starting from alphabet 3, right? Position 3, which is this. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, remember, index start from 0. So you say 1, 0, 1, do 0, 1, 2, 3. Right, so it's starting from here and is printing or grabbing the rest of the alphabet, and that's what you're seeing here. So it's grabbing from position 3 and grabbing the rest. Another example we can look at, you can just still call it slice tree B. Then let's do something like this. We need that here. If I save it and I run it, you can see what we have. We are having from the beginning, right? So what this is doing is it's more like a range. So I want from 0. So because you didn't indicate any figure here, it's assuming that you're counting from 0. So you're saying you want from 0 up till the third alphabet, right, which is P. And this is really cool. right? Let's see how this works, and let's see further examples. So let's say right now we want to specify the range, right? We want to specify the start and the finish. What we can do is we can go ahead and so let's just write a comment. Now to even write a comment in IDLE, instead of you typing hash every time, once you just say control / or command / then you get the right hash sign. Let's just declare slice range. Okay, so what we need right now again is we want to be able to declare our slice 6. We want to take from a position of 2 to 6, and let's see how we can do that. I'm just gonna say we want 6, then from 2 to 6. Let's say the magic. Right now, let's do our print function. In fact, I think we should just comment this once. To comment as well, you just control / and that will do the magic. If we save it and we run it, you can see what we get. So looking at it, basically the idea of slicing is sometimes when you have a collection, you want to be able to pick from a range, right? You want to be able to pick either from the third position to the last position, whatever it is. Just know that it is possible that when you have collections, you can always pick based on the range. We're going to be looking at range, especially once we get to running loops and writing conditional statements. But in the meantime, just understand the concept that it is possible to actually get range of numbers. Now, let's also take, for instance, for some reasons, maybe you forgot and you pick a range that is more than the expected number. So let's say, for instance, this very range, instead of 6, we go ahead and give it 12. Let's see what Python is going to do. Okay, I think 12 even exists. Let's say 15. I think we need to save it. Nothing is happening yet, but I actually wanted to throw an error. So let's say 15. Okay, so it's not throwing error, unlike what we've seen when we were doing index for the string, right? The reason why this isn't throwing any error is because the very first time Python is running this, the first thing it's doing is creating an empty list, right? It's creating an empty list. So the moment it checks again to see whether the item exists, and if it doesn't see anything, so it just returns an empty list. And the reason why you're seeing a space here, so the print function works, however there is nothing, so you can see that something is actually there, but it's just an empty list. Pretty much this is a bit technical, but if it's really not clear to you, you can actually rewatch and see how you can make sense out of it. If you have further questions, of course, you can always ask so that we can deal with it. And that's how we wrap it up on today's edition. If you like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to also click the bell button so that you can be notified every time we release an update. Until next time, I'll see you in the next one.